Hi everyone, welcome to my channel for the first time. If you came here before, you probably would have seen a video that I posted before, but it had a voiceover. The voice did not record the way I wanted it to on the original video, so I'm just re-recording them. I'm making the same exact things that I made before because my mom and stepdad are coming over tonight, so I'm going to make it anyway, so I figured I would just record what I'm doing anyway. So today I am going to be posting a video about how to make pasta dough. So the actual pasta noodle videos, those will come in another video. I'm going to have a video for handmade pasta in case you don't have a pasta machine to thin out. You can still do a lot of noodles handmade. Most of the noodles you can make handmade. I'm not going to show all the noodles that I know how to make. I'll make videos down the line of more probably in-depth and hard and difficult videos to make. But I'm going to do some basic ones, some fun ones that you can do with just tools like a knife, a rolling pin, a butter knife is another one, just some different things like that. And then I'm also going to do a separate video for a pasta maker. Just to go over it. I think people are really intimidated by pasta. I had some people asking me to post videos on pasta dough and how to make pasta, and they just seem really intimidated by it, and I get it. It can be an intimidating thing to start, but it's actually not as scary as it seems. So today I'm just going to be doing a pasta dough video. I'm going to share my favorite pasta dough recipe, my family's favorite pasta dough recipe. We have tried a lot over the years, and this is by far our favorite. Now, not every pasta dough recipe has eggs in it. A lot of northern Italian recipes will have eggs, and then southern Italian will not have eggs. Ours does. We have figured out that even though we are from southern Italy, my family, we like eggs. We like a more wet mixture, and I'll go through that down the line, why we like those. I'll talk about it in this video, but then I'll also talk about it in the pasta, like the pasta machine video, because that's kind of where the wet ingredients seem to shine for me. But we're gonna get started. So what you're gonna need is all-purpose flour. You're gonna want semolina flour. And this is what it looks like right here. And you're going to need some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, 3 eggs, plastic wrap, which we will use later to wrap our dough in because it's going to need to rest for an hour. You're going to need just 1 cup measuring cup, a tablespoon measuring spoon, I guess, a fork, and a little bit of water on the side. This is just a half cup of water. You're not going to use the whole thing, but it's easy access. I don't have to go to the sink to grab water later when we're going through this. So I'm going to set a lot of these ingredients aside. We are going to start with the all-purpose flour. So this recipe is super easy to remember. Everything is in tubes except for the eggs. So we're going to start with 2 cups of flour, which is going to be 1 cup of all-purpose, and then 1 cup of semolina. Set flour aside. Now, I'm sure if you haven't made pasta a lot, semolina is not like a very popular flour in the United States, especially. One thing about Italians, we don't really measure things down to the exact measurement. We like to do our own little twists, and when it looks right, it looks right. I'm just going to pour this right over it and set this aside. Okay. So I'll talk about semolina flour in a moment, but I'm going to roll up my sleeves here. So we have 1 cup of all-purpose flour and 1 cup of semolina. What we're going to do here is we're going to make a boat or a fort, whatever you want to call it. And it's so that we have a hole in the middle of the flour, but kind of a fort going around it. We're going to put all the wet ingredients inside, and you're going to see why this is important later. So I'm I'm just slowly going to start making a boat. My fork up. We don't want the wet ingredients to escape. Sorry, I'm smiling because I'm thinking about the last time we made pasta dough. My sister's fork was not built the best, I guess, because she was running around chasing the wet ingredients. The wet ingredients escaped down a side, and so she was trying to grab it back in. But you know what? It all tasted the same, tasted great. It just might cause a little more work if it escapes. So build a fort. Generally takes about a half an hour to do a dough of this size anyway. For me, I'm sure that there's people who can go a lot quicker or a lot longer. You do want to do this on a on either a flat counter surface or a wood board like this. I like doing mine on wood. It's just easier to work with. It doesn't the ingredients seem to stick better than like a flat, smooth counter. Definitely unfinished wood. And here we go. So I will talk about the semolina flour in a moment, but I'm going to put the wet ingredients first. So my eggs are room temperature, but quite honestly, I have worked with eggs right out of the refrigerator before, and I haven't had any issues. So if you don't remember to store the eggs for a couple hours outside of the fridge, it's okay. Your pasta will be fine. So 3 eggs. This is the only thing that is not 2. So everything else is in 2s and the eggs are in 3s. So I'm just going to crack the eggs right in the middle. And if you crack on the side of the egg instead of like on a corner of a bowl, it's actually a lot easier to crack open, and it does not, you don't really get shell a lot. So shell is never an issue. And I'm just going to place those over there because I'm done with those. Now I'm just going to do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Oop, that came out. Okay, I don't know why this thing is not. Oh, it's because this thing is down. I'm an airhead. Sometimes it happens. Okay. One. And 2. Place this over there. And then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of water. And that is going to be all the ingredients. That's it. So we have 2 tablespoons of flour broken in half. 1 cup of flour is semolina and 1 cup is all-purpose flour. We have 3 eggs, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 2 tablespoons of water. Now, a lot of recipes, most of them all include salt. My mom has a heart condition. She has heart failure, and we do not put salt in anything, especially when we are cooking with her or she's eating our food. Honestly, we just don't need it. You can get flavor with herbs and spices. Salt is not needed. But if you want to go ahead and add, a teaspoon of salt, go for it. A lot of recipes will call for that, but I don't really think I need it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our fork and you're going to break up the eggs, and we're just going to mix together the wet ingredients first. Just to get those all together before we start incorporating the flour into our wet ingredients. I do not have any fancy tools to do this. I don't use a machine to do this. First of all, even if I had a machine to mix the pasta dough, I kind of love this part. Honestly, a lot of times when I'm making dough, I will just put on a show that I really love and I'll watch it. Or if I'm with my family, we're obviously all talking together. So you'll actually have several people making their pasta doughs and we're all just talking and making pasta dough. It's just honestly relaxing. It's a half an hour to yourself to do whatever you want and think and all of that. So, okay, so now we're going to take our fork and we're going to start incorporating the sides of the flour in. You're going to start with a little bit of flour at a time, incorporate so that the flour gets into the wet mixture, and then you're going to take more flour and incorporate. It's going to be a repetitive pattern. And you're going to do that with the fork until the wet ingredients are combined with the flour so much that you don't have to worry about the wet ingredients running. So you'll see it's usually about 10 minutes of the fork action and then 10 minutes of kneading the dough. So we'll just get started. I'm just going to take a little bit. I don't want to break the fort, the boat, whatever. Apart or anything. So I've added a little bit of flour, you can see, and now I'm just going to mix. I don't do it pretty. I have no special techniques. I'm just kind of smashing the fork down into the flour and wet mixture. And it'll take a while, but we can talk. So the reason we use semolina, you can use any flour you want. If you wanted to use 2 cups of all-purpose, go for it. But semolina really does make a difference. You could use other flours if you want to. But semolina really is the best that we've worked with anyway. And what's nice about it is that, number 1, it has a beautiful color. And number 2, and most importantly, it has a wonderful texture. It adds a lot of depth to pasta. It adds a bite. It's just, you get more of a pasta feeling from it. The noodles, unless they're overcooked, aren't super slippery or slimy or wet. There's a really nice bite to it. I don't know how else to describe it, but you can find them anywhere now. This brand is Bob's Red Mill. He's everywhere. A lot of times you can find them in the organic section. But we find them at Jewel, at Whole Foods, anywhere. Trader Joe's. So just look for some semolina flour. It's not that expensive. And you can make about 4 pasta doughs of this size with 1 bag. So it has about 4 cups in it. This recipe right here makes quite a few portion sizes. It can make, now it depends on your noodles. Some noodles are heavier. It also depends on how thin you roll things out. But it makes between 6 and 10 servings. If it is 6 servings, it's 242 calories. So, and that's for 3 ounces. So if you're doing 6 servings, it makes 3 ounces of 6 servings at 242 calories per 3 ounces. Usually at the boxed pasta, it's about 300 calories for 3 ounces. So this is actually better, and it's all ingredients that you know. And a lot of ingredients you already have. A lot of people have all-purpose flour. A lot of people have eggs. A lot of people have, obviously you have water. And hopefully you have extra virgin olive oil. If you do not have extra virgin olive oil, what are you doing? I don't, what do you cook with? I literally cannot comprehend how a household could not have extra virgin olive oil, but no, if you don't have it, surprise me. Let me know in the comments what the heck you're using and why you don't use extra virgin olive oil. Now you can't fry with it. Like if you're making if you're deep frying something, yeah, then you're going to need vegetable oil, but extra virgin olive oil is good on salads. It's good to saute things with. It's good on sandwiches. It's obviously good for pasta. Now, if you didn't want to use eggs, I honestly don't know of a vegan recipe off the top of my head. I can tell you though, like gnocchi, I make gnocchi, potato gnocchi, and it's just gnocchi with all-purpose flour. It's just potatoes with all-purpose flour and water. So You can make gnocchi. You could probably replace the eggs in this recipe with more water and more extra virgin olive oil, to be honest. Okay, I'm going to incorporate more flour. Just going around the edges. Drag it in there. I hope this video turns out better than the other one because it was such a mess with, I just had no idea that the vocals were not recording. So then I had to do a voiceover, but the voiceover was not matching my lips and it really made me angry. So I was not a happy camper. See, I'm not fast by any means. I'm just smashing, whisking, whatever you want to call it. This is not a pretty technique. Grab more. Grab some from the top, push in. You just want to be careful not to break the fort. Again, if it does break, it's okay. Like, it'll all come together in the end. It's just easier for you to not be chasing the wet ingredients. You don't want all your wet ingredients to come down on the floor, so try not to break it. So if you're wondering like how long I've been making pasta for, I actually, right now I'm making it about twice a week, once a week. I eat pasta almost every day, usually at dinner. I like to have my favorite meal usually at dinner to end my day after a hard day of work. So I generally have my pasta then. And the nice thing is too, is after you make your pasta, you can freeze the noodles. I put them in just a Ziploc baggie by portion sizes. That way I can just pull out one baggie and you can cook it right away frozen, or you can let it sit for an hour and let it defrost before you cook it if you want. But yeah, I separate it by portion size and then I put it in a Ziploc baggie and I freeze it. And it lasts me, you know, if I make one dough, I have 6 servings for the week. So 6 or 7. This week I had 7 or 8. I can't remember. I made a lot of different, like, smaller noodles, and so I had more going on. But so you can probably tell it's getting a little bit thicker here. This is what we're looking for. It's clumpy, and that's okay. My family has been doing pasta day for a few years now. Trying to think, maybe about 5, 6, something like that. So we haven't been doing it my whole life. The reason it actually, pasta day actually started was because when my grandma died, we really wanted to do something that we could remember her by. So we try to have it generally by her birthday, but it doesn't always work that way. It just depends on our schedules. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. But we started because we didn't want to just get together and have a cake and, you know, talk about her. We want to do something that she would really have loved. And, well, Italian grandma loved pasta. So we thought it'd be a really nice tradition to start, and we learned something along the way, and we can sit and talk about her the whole day and just enjoy family. So that's exactly what she would have wanted. See, I'm just going and incorporating more flour as I go. So we've tried a lot of recipes over the years, and I've tried recipes by myself, and this is by far, we were actually worried when we first did this one because it was really wet, and we were like, really, is this going to work? Like, this is going to stick together. It's going to be a mess. But the noodles came out so good. They just held up so well. They were really, what the extra like wetness provided was it meant that when it went through the pasta machine, it didn't break apart as easily. It was more resistant. It held together better. So it took a lot of hassle out of things, because sometimes in a pasta machine, the pasta can get stuck, it can break, it can crack. So if the recipe is too dry, we found it's just not our dealio. We've been doing things together though, like my whole life. ever since I was little, we've done Apple Day. So every September we go apple picking together, and then we make something with those apples, whether it's like apple pie, apple crumble, caramel apples, whatever it is. And then we watch a movie, we have dinner. That's a whole day affair. Okay, this is getting a lot thicker. I'm not going to put down my fork just yet, though. Soon, though. Generally, I put down my fork when the sides are kind of gone and there's just like kind of a ring of flour around it, if that makes sense. You'll see. Okay, you know what? Let the fork do the work for you, and then you can really start using your hands, because you're going to put in a little bit of sweat kneading that dough. Another day that my family does together is we do a pumpkin day as well. We go out and we go to a pumpkin patch and we pick pumpkins. We get apple cider donuts, apple cider, corn on the cob, and then we go and we carve the pumpkins, and we then watch Hocus Pocus. That's in every single year. We like all know the words. We even have like Hocus Pocus shirts. We're total nerds and we don't care. Okay. We do that every October. So yeah, so maybe something like this could be a new day you start with your family, a new tradition, and that would make me very happy. I come from an Italian family. Family's everything. It's all about traditions and love. You know, what they say is true. We bicker a lot, but we also love very, very hard. So we fight hard. We love hard. We would do anything for each other. And if an Italian ever cooks for you, they really, really love you, because one, we don't really, it takes a lot of time. There's a lot of time and effort into a lot of Italian recipes, even though they are simple. A lot of love goes into them. And so just picking more up. I don't want the dough to be too wet, otherwise it's going to stick to my hands. So I'm going to continue to use the fork. But yeah, there's a lot of love. So if an Italian cooks for you, you know that they really love you. Like, they are willing to, one, share recipes with you, which is a big thing for us. Food and pasta and our recipes really are sacred to us almost. It's part of our blood. It's part of our heritage, our culture. It means everything to us. It's something that brings us together. It's in our blood. So they know, just know like they really love you if they do it for you. See, this doesn't look too pretty, but that's okay. You're just slowly incorporating. Your hands will probably cramp up. Just burn through the pain though. Okay, I think I'm at a place where I'm going to use my hands now. The fork is definitely broken. Our wet ingredients are not sliding, and it's just getting a little bit hard because the dough is getting really thick, so it's getting a little hard to whisk in there. So I'm just going to take this, set it aside there. Your hands will get dirty, and that's okay. Okay, so I'm just going to try to... An action you're going to do a lot of is folding and pushing in. You're going to use your heels of your hands a lot, and also your fingertips. So a lot of folding and pushing. You can also use a cutter. I don't want to lift it up now, but you'll see it in another video, but it's one of those things you can, like a metal thing you can use to like scrape. A lot of people use that. Honestly, I just use my hands, so sorry. Sorry. folding, and you're just trying to marry all of those ingredients, and then they're going to rest for a while. You'll have to let me know how you like this dough recipe. Now, if you ever saw spinach, basil, garlic infused, rosemary infused pastas, they put it in the pasta dough. So what I would do anyways, is I would, see there's some stuff stuck there. I'm just going to take my fork, scrape it up. What I would do is I would take rosemary and I would grind it so it's a fine powder. You would probably want to get a grinder, or you find like dried ground rosemary. Fine though, you don't want the little sticks, because if you make the pasta, the little sticks of rosemary are going to stick out, and that might be a little awkward. But I put it with the dry ingredients. I would sprinkle it in with the flour, and then I would just make the dough as usual. Basil, I would just get dried basil, sprinkle it in the dry ingredients, and then start whisking away with your fork. Not hard at all. Generally though, I haven't really felt a desire to do that much. Maybe I will in the future, but sauces just tend to have the flavor that I'm already looking for. So again, you can see I'm just folding and then kneading. Take my dough, gather. You can feel that some things are sticking. See, this is like all the dry ingredients we have left here. Not a lot. Just lift them up, place in there, fold. Fold it in, knead, sprinkle. Now you may watch some other videos and they'll all have their own way of doing this, but this is how I do it, and it tastes good. So now my family, my whole life, we've made sauces, like homemade sauces. I cannot eat a bolognese at a restaurant. A bolognese is a meat sauce. Generally known from being from northern Italy. Again, we make a lot of southern recipes because we are from the south. If you want to see kind of a video about some of my family's like back history, I can tell you a little bit in this video, but I can go in depth if you'd like. Just tell you stories and stuff. If that's something you want, you can comment below. I've been trying to get to my Italian roots a lot. It's been something that's been really important to me. I've been trying to learn Italian. When my great-grandparents came here from Italy in the early 1900s and 1910s, they obviously knew Italian. They came from Caserta, Italy, which is in the Italian region of Campania, which is where Naples is. Caserta is a suburb of Naples. It's also where Positano, the Amalfi Coast, Pompeii is. Rome is in the, I want to say the Lazio region. I might be messing up how I'm saying that, but it's the region right directly north of Campania. So my family hails from Caserta, Italy. And see the dough, the dry ingredients are pretty much all in there. So now I'm just going to knead the dough for a little bit, make sure everything is incorporated, get it into a nice ball. See, it took about 10 minutes of the fork and 10 minutes of kneading, I'd say, give or take. Just gonna go around. But they came here and they lived here during the Great Depression. There are a lot of stories I could tell you. They had it rough. My great-grandparents actually met. Well, actually, I shouldn't say met here. My great-grandma came here 10 years after my great-grandpa to meet him, to marry him. But, so they met. They never met until they were here. But then, you know, they had their children during the Great Depression, and they didn't really teach my grandma, like she knows Italian, but she doesn't really know, she didn't know how to write it much. She just wasn't fluent in it in all aspects. And so she didn't teach her children. So then I don't know. But when they came here, you know, when people came here back then, it was all about trying to incorporate the best they could into American culture. And it just wasn't a popular, like, they still held on to their traditions. Like the bolognese recipe my mom does is actually a mixture of recipes, my great-grandpa's recipe, and then another woman called Little Annie's recipe incorporated together. My mom's bolognese is the best sauce you will ever eat. My boyfriend eats it like a bowl of soup. But they wanted to mold into American life. It was such an important thing for people back then that they just didn't pass everything down. Obviously, the cooking, the pasta, the sauces, the being close, the bickering, the loving hard, those are all things carried down in our culture. That's what we consider all Italian culture, and that has obviously stuck with us. But I'm trying to learn Italian now. It's hard, but I really want to teach my children one day. If I have children, when I go to Italy next year, I really want to be able to speak to them in Italian, speak to people there in Italian. So as you can see, I have my ball here. It's all smoothed out. It looks beautiful. We're gonna wrap it in plastic and let it sit for an hour. But yeah, so my family came here from Italy, Caserta, Italy in the early 1900s. My grandma was a single mother for, well, a very long time. My grandma was single for a lot of her life. Sure, my grandma has been through a lot. I could tell you about that in other videos. She is literally my best friend. My mom was a single mom for a while. A lot of single parents in my family, but yeah, I could go through a video just talking about my family history and just all the crazy stuff that they went through and how strong and how they persevered and how we have a lot of family recipes to this day because of them. So that'll be another video though. I hope you enjoyed this pasta dough recipe. All you're gonna have to do is have it sit for an hour and then we can start making the pasta noodles. So the pasta noodle videos should hopefully be up soon. If not, by the time I don't know when you're watching this, but they're probably up already. And so there's Pasta Maker Edition and also Hand Tool, just hand making pasta noodles edition. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you make pasta and I hope that your family loves it. Let me know how you liked it. Let me know if you changed anything and everything like that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope I see you guys again soon. Thanks. Bye.